The boys are back in town. Today's guest on the podcast, the Pease brothers, my good friends Brent and Kyle, are back from the IRONMAN World Championship in Kona, and this is their third appearance on the podcast. They are on episode 4 and 26 if you want to get some backstory on these amazing brothers. But the sum of it is Kyle and Brent are brothers. Kyle was born with cerebral palsy, and Brent was a triathlete, and at some point, Kyle said, I want to be a triathlete too, and they concocted this amazing plan to make it happen. So they raced together. Kyle is towed in a raft on the swim, and then they have this amazing big bike where they both ride together on the bike, and then on the run, it's in a push assist kind of jogger. But they have been working together for, I think 8 years we talked about in the podcast, and the dream became a reality. Kona is the ultimate for any triathlete, and they, through the Ironman Foundation, gained an entry, and they competed this past October and finished in 15-something hours, which is incredible. And we talk about all the things that happened and the journey to Ironman Kona, and we sort of talk about what's next, even though I didn't ask them that question. So I hope you all enjoy this episode. These brothers have done so much for our sport and for inclusion. The Kyle Pease Foundation, check it out, kylepeasefoundation.org, to see all the amazing things that they have accomplished. And we talk a little bit about my experience with the foundation. I was a push assist runner for the Marine Corps Marathon in 2017, and I totally forgot that we didn't discuss that, so we chat about that a little bit too. So enjoy this episode with these amazing brothers.
Welcome to the Same 24 Hours podcast with Meredith Atwood. We all have the same 24 hours each day, and it's what we do with those hours that makes all the difference between our health, happiness, and success.
I have the best people in the world back for a third time. Brent and Kyle Pease are here. Hi, boys.
Hello.
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 Your most frequented guest back.
Most frequented. Most in demand.
I don't know about that.
That's
but
right. That's right. So the last time we talked, you guys had finished Boulder, and nothing else was in the works. There was a big desire to do this big race, the Hawaii Ironman World Championships, but that's where we left off. So who wants to catch us up?
I think before we did that, we got you to do a marathon.
Oh, did we not talk about that?
No, we should be interviewing you right now.
Oh, no, that's okay.
So for your listeners, many of whom donated, and we thank and we greatly appreciate that, Mrs. Swim Like Mom herself helped lend her legs to Logan last year,
Right.
which was a really cool experience for all of us. Logan's got a lot going on, and so it was more than just a marathon. So I hope if they haven't seen pictures, you should absolutely go back and look at it. And if you don't want to take all the credit, when you go back and look at the pictures, you can see all the other teams that were with Meredith as well that year, which we had 14.
Yeah,
so it was a great weekend because we weren't running.
Yeah, but then y'all had a very busy year. I can't believe that was the last time we talked.
No,
that's like
on
the
yes,
podcast.
yeah.
Gosh, okay, yeah. So I did a little marathon.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. my last and first.
So let me ask you this though, since it was comparing that to any open running events that you've done, like how did that stack up?
Well, okay. So when I tell the story, when people say how was it, I go, I made it about a half mile down the road. I thought I have made a very big mistake because I thought it was so hard, so hard. But when I look back on it, the speed I ended up going with the breaks we took, I mean, it was probably a PR pace.
Yeah.
From all my running.
If you had stopped your watch and looked at just your
Yes.
moving time,
Yeah, so-
that's what I've explained to people, and maybe I should think of a better answer to it because maybe it would be more dramatic. But the fact of it is, somebody asked us recently. They said, "Well, how much harder is it pushing the?" They were talking about the bike. How much harder is it pushing the bike? And I said, "It's not." Because there's something that happens out there, and for Kyle and I think it's the added layer of the brotherly bond that we've shared our entire lives together. That it's not heavy pushing the bike, and it's funny because I always know I'm going to have a good race with Kyle when I jump in the water and I don't want to go. So, when we get to the climax here, when we set off in the water, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done after like 2 strokes, Yeah. But then that's a good thing that we've put so much energy into the prep physically and mentally that by the time we get there, you're almost like, where's the rest? It's all gone.
Yeah.
I've used up all my energy.
Yeah.
But it comes back.
Yeah.
It comes back. But
have you, do you keep in touch with Logan?
Yeah, I talked to his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a special woman.
She had asked me to push for Publix for the half last year, and I probably would have, but I had a commitment.
By the way, we've completely taken over this podcast now.
It's fine.
We're totally interviewing you.
No, I don't care.
But something else.
It's your world. We're just listening.
I think there's another layer too. I think, since people can't see Kyle, they won't see him get embarrassed. But I think a lot of the people that come and run with us, especially the athletes, they look at Kyle as this beacon, and so he's the rock. You saw it, right? He's the rock star.
Sure.
Nobody was coming and tugging on my shirt. They want to all go talk to Kyle, which is great. And what they see is a college graduate with a job who's done Ironmans, who's done marathons, who's done all this incredible stuff, and they see the relationship that Kyle and I share, and so they see that too. And so I see that all the time, where a mom, a dad, or a brother or sister says, "We had such a good time with Meredith," and they want to share that again. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I just had somebody email me this weekend that said, "Hey, I've been doing all these running races. Could I do a triathlon?" And we want to accommodate that because we want that. And I think one of the things that's special to us with the foundation is there's a family feel to it. And you really got a good taste of it at Marine Corps, where you have this whole weekend together where everybody's got that shared experience of doing so much for so many other people.
Yeah.
And we're all in it. Everybody from the people that are driving the buses to pumping tires. Right. And it's, by Sunday night when we're all sitting there eating junk food. And
yes. I remember, that was good junk food.
It was very good junk food. Slow service, but good junk food.
Right.
Anyways.
No, it's amazing though, because I don't know if I even told you, the day before I had a fever and I felt awful. I was like, oh my gosh. But then it's just amazing what the human body can do and what the mind can do and the spirit once you get out there. Because I didn't feel it on race day,
I think this is where the interview where you can start asking us questions.
Oh,
but no, I think what is so huge about the IRONMAN World Championship that we did, yes, it was a personal goal of ours, but what was so cool is that the foundation, even though they were not there physically, they were there. They were with us. All the 100 families, all the volunteers that we have come in contact with through the foundation, they were there. Yeah. And they were a big part of our day as well.
Okay. So let's rewind. How did you guys, the last time we talked, you wanted to go to Kona. How did the invitation happen?
I think some context behind it, just the invitation, is that, Kyle and I love doing this stuff together. We're still, young and energetic, and so we enjoy it. So every year we've always, as the foundation, especially as the foundation's grown, we've always wanted to have one race that's kind of just for us. Because so many times we go to a Marine Corps and everybody's pulling on Kyle. And so every now and again, it's nice to, share an experience just together. And so Raleigh was that experience. And that's June of this year.
Right.
And, January, we, submit our request for Kona. We put our name in the hat for the PC lottery, for the physically challenged lottery. And, by the time June rolls around, it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. Because that's usually, by then the lottery's already been announced, so we didn't get it on the lottery. Any kind of maybe special exemption, we felt like it's just too late. We were like, we've got 17 weeks till Kona.
Right.
The money we would need to raise, the training we would need to do. I'll spare the story, but we had learned a few years ago that we should, because we enjoy it, we should at least keep going. There was, short story or long story short, there was a potential opportunity a few years back, and physically we weren't ready. You know, we would have shown up in Kona underprepared. So we were very fit going into Raleigh, and you know, at mile 54 with the bike, we got a flat tire. And,
did you?
Yeah, and you know, I think at that point, certainly for me, and I won't speak for Kyle, but at that point, it was just my dad there and one other person really helping us. We didn't have this massive crew that we always roll in
Your
with.
entourage.
I was done. I was ready to come home and play golf, and you know, I had a new baby at home. It just you know,
brand new baby.
Yeah, brand new baby, brand new house. Like, so again, personally, like, you know, I was just in a place where it was like, you know, it's okay. Like, we 2017 was a great year for that, to really accept and appreciate what we had built, that it was more than Kona.
Right.
And while that was a deeply personal thing, so
isn't that how it is, though? It's like you drive and push and push and push, and then you're finally like, I don't care, whatever.
You gotta let go. It's so hard. When you're in the moment, and even now talking about it, it took 5 years to get into Kona, and I remember talking to lots of people, and I'm sure some of them will text me when they hear this and go, yeah, we told you, but it felt like an eternity in the moment. Yeah. Just like it does in racing. Like in that first half mile for you at Marine Corps, you were like, I'm done. And when you think about it now, you're like, you know, I was running at some of the best paces I've ever run at in a marathon.
Yeah.
You know, and so now I look at it and go, you know, in those 5 years we accomplished a lot, and we had a really good time doing it. And so...
Well, what I'm learning, too, just from talking on this podcast to a lot of people, is there is something about 10 years. Anyone you talk to, they'll tell you it takes 10 years to get... whatever, like I worked, and it took me 10 years, and you guys have been at this, like, triathlon thing for
8 years.
Yeah. You know, it is funny, because, and we can watch it this naive with this habit, but the day before the race in Raleigh, we got interviewed. And my dad was like...
He's got his phone, like now, like you look back and you remember, like he's got his phone out, all these camera guys are there.
Yeah.
And the announcer, this guy David, who, you know, who was with us in Boulder, who did that YouTube thing from Boulder, like really just a great guy, and he's been so good to us. And he's like, can we just do one picture real quick? We're like, fine. Like, but we're going out after this, you know? And we stand there, and again, he's got, you know, he's holding this camera, and now I realize he was filming, he wasn't taking a photo. Yeah. And then David... the announcer says, you know, Brent and Kyle, as you know, it's the 40th anniversary. And as soon as he starts talking, now I know, like, this is happening. And I'm getting overcome with emotion. If you watch that video, you can see, like, confusion on Kyle's face. And you can see that, you know, the tears are starting to swell up in my eyes. And,
I mean, I had no idea.
You're like, this is a trick. You're like, I don't trust any of you people
here. At this
here.
point, like, yeah, that's how I felt. Like, at this point, I was like... please give me my everyday wheelchair. And then they were like, I'll be having an Ironman in the Ironman Foundation. Here's your ticket for Kona. And it was like, wow, like, this is our golden ticket to something that we wanted for so long. And now we have 17 weeks.
Was that your first thought? Yeah. Not like, oh great, but like,
it was like, oh, like, we gotta do so much here. We gotta get going. And those 17 weeks went by so fast.
Yeah.
And the preparation that Brett put in is incredible. And just everything aligned the way it was supposed to align, and the people, the supporters, Curtis with Candace Cycley, just the people that came out of the woodworks to help us.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to me as an athlete. Was
how the hell with that as a human.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things, but as an athlete, I think it was a day I'll never forget.
Is that the end of the interview?
Yeah, are we done? All done. It was great talking. Okay, so, I mean, I was driving down the road, not illegal Instagramming at all, when I saw that you guys got your ticket to Kona. And I was like, ah!
You cried?
Yes.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I cried
so
harder
happy.
there than I did in Kona. Because,
I'm sure.
Because that felt like Kona was a celebration.
Right.
And we'll talk about it some, but like that was a celebration of the last 8 years, and more specifically the last 5 years. But that finish line in Raleigh, that felt like a validation of all the hard work, of everything that we had put in. And I said to them, you know, for all the no's we've heard, they got that one right. Ironman got it right. You know, they made us feel good. They recognized the hard work, and I'm glad it was now that it's all done, I'm glad that it was just a small crew. You know, my dad's the guy who every time there's a race, if we need help, he drops everything and comes, you know, and crewing for us is, I'm a diva on race day, and it's not easy, but you know, it was special. You know, Kona, there was so many people, and it's the race itself is a spectacle in a good way, but you know, we got to have that kind of last little private moment together.
They roll out the red carpet for all the athletes, and it's special, you know, the iris. As soon as you get off the airplane, there's a different vibe of you're here to do something special.
Yeah.
And you're going to make memories. And yeah, I guess I can't convey to your listeners how cool it was. Just to get off the airplane, you know, and you're on a tarmac. Like, when are you on the tarmac at any other airport?
Right.
Granted, it's a small airport, but that was cool to me too.
Yeah.
So just everything was just so different and so amazing.
So what were you said the 17 weeks leading up between Raleigh and Kona went by really fast. What did you guys do in 17 weeks?
Well, we trained our asses off. We raised over $155,000. We trained, and did I mention we trained? We trained a lot.
Did you panic train, or did you
No,
just
we were
train?
good. Like we were. I mean, I panicked that week when we got back. I had, everybody wanted to be part of it, and that felt good too. That people wanted to be a part of the whole journey with us. And I remember people were like, "We got to go ride 10 hours here, and we got to go do this." And I remember reaching out to Matthew, and he sent me a very firm but fair email that just said, "Look, I got it. You guys are fine. You're in great. Both of you are already in great.
Coach.
Yeah." He's like, "You're both in great shape, and you're fine. I'll take care of the outside noise. You take care of the fitness."
Right. I think when I met with Matthew, and Matthew has been on this journey with us since we started racing together and with the foundation. And when I met with Matthew, this was about 6 weeks out. He said, "There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to finish." And of course, you have doubts in your own mind, but to hear that felt good. And you're like, no excuses. Like, it's time to buckle down and get going.
So the video that you guys shot at Dynamo of the water training, flipping you in the boat, I couldn't watch that.
But we wanted no stone left unturned.
I know, but have you done that before?
So anybody who's going to do a long course triathlon, we want to flip them in a boat because we need to know what our emergency plan is. And originally, and this isn't a testament to how strong Kyle was, the first time we ever flipped Kyle, he went in the water. This was 2011. We flipped him. He went face in the water and just started thrashing around, and we had to grab him. And so we kind of figured, 20, 30 seconds max, before it's, trouble. And so I remember one race where it was really windy and the waves it was an ocean swim, and my mom was crying because we told our escort swimmer, "Hey, if something happens, you have 20 seconds to get to him," So my mom's freaking out. So for Kona, it's in an ocean, and I know you're not swimming through the breaks, but there's a current, there's swells, there's things that can happen. So if you go back and watch that video, there's two things. The first is that we had a new boat. So to get Kyle out of the boat, the two of us lifting the boat had our hands above our head. So it was going to take, a massive wave to knock him out to start. The second thing is, if you watch Kyle, he goes in the water, and I go under the boat to grab him, and there's already somebody there waiting, and before either of us can get to him, Kyle's holding. Yeah. So, like, we talked about it here with you. We've talked about it with people all the time, but Kyle and Logan and all these kids that race, it's a physical ask of them. And Kyle, at that point when we flipped the boat, was probably 3 or 4 weeks out, and he was in great shape. He was ready to race. Yeah.
It also felt like that for me, at least, with my work, that I was really living a double life. Like I would work and then I would have to come home.
No, double time.
No, like a double life,
like an agent.
Yeah,
like
you're with me, right? Like,
yeah. Well,
what was your alter ego then?
Right? Were you like a superhero?
It felt like that some days with this schedule and all.
Do you have an alter ego?
I don't think so.
You should. My dad's is Reno Buchanan.
Oh, you know what? I think I might be more sane if I actually named the alter ego.
Yeah, well, mine's McGann Smagella-Fetty. I used to make a reservation in college under that name.
Well, why don't you just name mine and we can go forward?
We'll come up with it. We'll think of it. So anyway, so we were training.
Yeah. And just forget. You can cut that out. But it was, nobody wanted this more than me and Brett. So we got what we wanted, and now it was time to show results. Yeah. So I had to, get myself ready for the big day. And
I think Matthew, I think he had no doubt that we were going to finish because, for 5 years we could have given up on this. Right. And it got harder and harder. We shared frustrations with you. You and I have had conversations about it. Like the whole process of being told no over and over is really difficult and it's disheartening. And so I think, knowing that we stuck through it, that, when we had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, to do these long training days with Kyle, we were both getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning on a weekend, on a Saturday morning to go train. Like, maybe we had self-doubt, and that's just healthy as an athlete to have a little bit of that,
I think you had more self-doubt.
But, but we did everything, not just in the 17 weeks, but in the 5 years to get ready for this race. I mean, we were, we now when we talk about the race, the drama happened in all these other races, and Boulder, we bonked, and we were struggling on the bike. In Wisconsin, we made it by 2 minutes on the bike cutoff. The drama at Kona, it wasn't there, because the 5 years was all the drama.
Were you waiting for it the whole day then?
Yeah. I mean, that was the healthy fear. And so one great story is, on the bike, the one place we struggled was the climb up to Javi. So that was the one place in the course we had really good conditions, and that was the one place that was pretty windy, and our speed was dropping down to about 6 miles per hour, which testament to Curtis, by the way, because the old bike would drop down to 3 or 4 in those conditions. Wow. So to be able to maintain that kind of speed, but the doubt's creeping in our head at this point. We haven't even made it to the turnaround. And then we hit the turnaround and we're flying. We're doing like 32, 33 miles an hour. We are just motoring. I mean, we did the next 15 miles faster than I've ever done it with Kyle. And you do this pretty steep climb, severe steep climb up Kauai High, and then you turn back on the Queen K Highway. And when we turned, I leaned down to Kyle and I said, "We got it." And he looked back and said, "You got to focus. We're not done yet." And it's funny, but we had 32 miles, and at that point, our average was, just over 13 miles per hour. So you're looking at almost 3 hours of work left.
Yep,
so yeah,
exactly. I remember you say 3 hours and 59 minutes, and I'm like, if you don't focus,
yeah. So you're always thinking about it, you do. You're thinking about something.
Right.
Creating drama, so we
made the bike cutoff by
51
minutes.
It was never in doubt.
Right.
We got in, and it was
Well, let's talk about your swim then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. Number one, after the boat flipping training, how would you know if Kyle was not in the boat? That was the whole thing I thought about while you were swimming. Don't you love that?
So we had a phenomenal swim escort
that
had done this before with other
ex-pro ITU triathlete.
Okay, and they swim with you.
Yeah, we usually always have.
He was amazing.
There's always those people, right? Like there's that one volunteer that sticks out. Like she was the first person of the day. Then there was a guy that was in charge of all the PC volunteers, and he was phenomenal. He would seek us out. He was with us when we were transitioning to the run. Like he was just really, I mean, he believes in all of those athletes. And there was 14 or 12 of us. And
now, did you guys start with the mass start?
We do. We go with the women. So it goes pro men, pro women, age group men, age group women, and we go. All the PC athletes go with the age group women. Okay. But they don't make you go behind them, so I got right on that front row.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think, to go back to the swimming escort, I think she had done it before, and so she kind of stayed back, but was aggressive at the same time. So
well, she'd have to be to keep up with you guys.
There was enough people out there, and I've learned now. I mean, we've done 4 Ironmans and 6 halves, and a dozen other short course races. Like there's a little bit of a tug with that boat, and so if you feel that thing lightening up, the first few races I did, I used to always like turn around. I'd do breaststroke, I'd roll on my back, I'd be paranoid, and now I have trust in him. I have trust in the escorts, and I can hear Kyle. He cheers and screams the whole swim.
Oh, wow.
And it's almost like a cadence in my head that if I don't hear that, then I want to look. When I hit the turnaround, I made sure it's just easier to grab the rope, go to a breaststroke, and just yank the rope really hard and basically get the boat right back behind me on a straight line. And so when I did that, I saw him, and then I just put my head back down and swam it in.
So 2.4 miles, an hour and 7 minutes. Is that right?
107.33, which is faster than Boulder with a wetsuit.
For those of you listening, you can't swim that fast.
Well, so here, like, we wanted to finish that race.
Well, it was so important to swim fast.
It's a swim bike race. It's a swim bike
bike.
race, and the run is what it is. It's just it's such an effort on the bike.
But because you banked that kind of time on the swim, you had 51 minutes on the bike cutoff.
So
you swim.
So at Wisconsin, we had 9 hours to make the bike cutoff, and I remember that one easier because of the 2 minute under the cutoff. For Kona, we had 9 hours and 16 minutes. So that swim plus our crew that had practiced transition countless times, 5 minute T1 with 2 humans and a massive bike with all these straps, and you have to delicately get Kyle's head under the aero bars. Like if you go look at the pictures, his head is right under the aero bars, and we did that in 5 minutes. That to me is more impressive than the swim time.
How was the?
We were thinking 119 swim and a 10 minute transition to get out under 90 minutes. To give us a full 9 hours. We had 16 extra minutes because of all that. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
You cannot understate. So if something had gone wrong, if we had gotten a flat, like we had time to be calm. Like in Raleigh, I was panicking. So I didn't want to change the tire on the bike for us. Kyle's got to come off the bike just like everybody. Just like anybody who gets a flat in a race. But that requires more to get him off the bike. And then we have to roll this, 55-pound machine on its side and pull, so... all that extra time. But, I put in a ton of extra work in the water. And, I've learned over all of these long course races is that, there's a place that I can go to physically swimming. So I swim 2.4 miles at a really hard effort.
Yeah.
And I have to.
I think the swim kind of set the tone for the day, too.
Yeah.
Like you said, to get good momentum, a good swim is crucial. And so if we would have gone 119, in the 120s, then that might have, derailed all day. So to get off to a great start like that was critical.
Yeah. Well, how was the bike set up? So this was the first time having a different position on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about your past bike, you've always been in front, and that's pretty unique to you guys, right?
And that's just the goal. We want Kyle, we want Logan or any of the folks that race with us to have the experience of being a cyclist. So, I don't, with apologies to anybody that tows their son, daughter, brother, sister, to me, that's you don't want to. That's what you do with your kids. You tow them in their trailer, and they're not part of the experience at that point. And so we've always wanted Kyle up front, and it makes it easier. He's got to eat too. We want to be able to talk. I need to hear what's going on with him. He needs to hear what's going on with me. So I'm not at it alone up there by myself for 112, and Kyle's not behind me for 112. So.
Well, you wouldn't want to look at his butt for 112 miles, would you?
No, man.
But it's, Kona is windy, or the conditions can be pretty windy, and so we wanted to design something. This was our opportunity. We had so many people that wanted to help. We had a guy who fabricates race car seats, through Shauna, through a mutual friend that said, I can help. And he built us an aluminum race car seat with holes cut in it for aerodynamics and for Kyle to have ventilation and breathe. Mm-hmm. We were able to get a special weld made so that we could make that all work for Curtis. And so Curtis and this other guy, they built an engineering marvel, truly. They cut 35 pounds off the bike.
Wow. So Curtis with Cannon Cyclery, and he's the other guy?
His name's Dave Hardy, and he's, I don't know what Dave does. I'm just going to call him
a race superhero.
Well, he and Shauna's husband, they
race together.
They raced together, so that was the connection. Bowie hooked us up with him, and he was awesome. He was so much fun to work with, because he understood what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And two of the most important people of the day, without a doubt, were Curtis and Dave, because the most that can happen to us is on the bike. But it was hard. Like Kyle and I did a 7.5-hour training ride in Cartersville. That was our longest ride together. And it turns out it was the hottest day of the year, so it was brutal on him. And I remember at the end of the ride, I said to Kyle, hey, how you're feeling? He goes, well, my neck hurts. Because he's like, you see him sitting here, he's fine. Like he lays down once a day when he goes to bed. He doesn't usually typically do that. And he said, my neck hurts. And I said, well, buddy, we got to figure this out. And he looked at me and he said, well, it always hurts. And you start thinking, like, I've just been on the bike for 7.5 hours. My legs hurt. My back hurts. Like, if you ride for 7.5 hours, anybody, like, what hurts? Something, if not everything. So Kyle's an athlete too. So yeah, it always hurts.
Yeah.
But we could take all that stuff, and so we made all these little improvements. We had special, pillows. We had airplane pillows that we had shaved down to, give him as much support as we could. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, he had to endure just like me and everybody else in Kona, and it's the beauty of what we do. It's what we always were looking for, and that makes that experience such a.
I think that. When we practiced, there was a lot of discomfort just because I wasn't used to practically laying down in the bike.
Right.
So there was just a lot of things that I had to work out for on race day. My body held up very well. Mm-hmm. And it was, there wasn't any real pain. Outside the Ironman pain.
Right, outside of the hard day, right?
But it was a great day.
Yeah. So how hot was it?
Surface of the sun.
Was it?
I mean, it's just, if you look at the forecast for that time of year, like high 80s, maybe low 90s, but like nothing cools off there. You don't get 68 degrees at night. Like it's 78 at night. So that lava rock and the asphalt, like it never cools off.
Yeah.
So like the road temp, you can feel it, and it,
you can see
it's on your lungs. It's on you all day long.
You can see it. Right?
Oh yeah, it's one of those hot, where you can look out.
And that's a lot coming from Georgia boys.
Yeah. Well, look, the two of the happiest people that had never cooled off in September or October is us.
Right.
Because we got to practice in that all fall, or what was supposed to be a little bit of a fall, but it's hot. We had light wind conditions. There was a swell that was supposed to materialize in the water that never did. So we, like Kyle said, everything lined up the way it should. It's still the hardest race of the 4 Ironmans. It's the hardest one that we've done.
And it will be the hardest.
It will be. Yeah. I mean, look, Wisconsin had hills, and those were very challenging. But once we got through those hills, it cooled off, and we were able to manage the run really well. Boulder we talked about. You can go back and listen to episode what?
I think it's 14.
Episode 14.
I think you're 4 and 14, or maybe 4 and 26. Hold please. Keep talking.
But you can go back and hear all about our Boulder experience on the same 24 hours with Meredith.
Right, where we are. Just scroll down on your whatever feeder you're looking.
They all presented different challenges, but this entire day, was a challenge. And you know, one of the things that
4 and 26.
4 and 26. Okay. The run was the most challenging run we've ever had.
Really?
And I had some GI issues going on, but it wouldn't have mattered. You take that out, it still would have been, because it, again, once the sun went down, it never cooled off.
And we were in an energy lab. The sky decided to open up.
Yeah,
It started raining?
Poured on us.
Poured.
But it was just hot rain, right? Just
well, you know what?
Hot rain.
That was cold.
That was good.
Kyle was shivering at that point because it just cooled us off too much. Of course, then you come out of the energy lab and it's humid again, and now I'm dripping sweat again. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody always talks about how hard the energy lab is. Like, I've heard Rennie, I've heard the pros, I've heard athletes from here in Georgia that have done.
What is the energy lab? It's like
the natural
stress.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, it sounds like this great thing, but it's the natural energy lab. It's where they produce, like, there's solar panels back there. There's wind. I didn't see any of those, but the windmills.
They're not windmills.
No.
That's what I'm going to call it.
But it's where they produce energy for the island. So
Okay.
It's called the Oceanic Natural Energy Lab or something. But everybody talks about it because it's so desolate. Supporters can't get back there to see you. So there's like 1 or 2 aid stations, and that's it. This year, they had to change the course, so you spent more time in the energy lab than you typically do. I just thought for all these people that, you know, they're all in it at the heat of the day. All these people that are telling me these stories, they're pros that are hitting it at, 1 in the afternoon, or age groupers here from Georgia who are doing 10-hour Ironman. So they're hitting it. So I knew no matter what, Kyle and I were going to be running through the energy lab at night.
Yeah.
And we got back there, and it was mind-numbing how difficult it was.
Yeah, and it was dark.
Dark.
So one of the safety precautions that Ironman puts in place for the PCs is you're going to have a light on your wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So we got this heavy-duty,
Mac Daddy.
Yeah, with your light, and it only lasted for probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, we don't know if it was the rain or if we just didn't give it a good charge, but I feel like we were so well prepared. If that's the only thing we weren't prepared on, but it doesn't matter. The light got knocked out and you can't see.
So I could barely see like 2 feet. The rain with the wind. Yeah.
It just beat us up. It just beat us up. I mean, look, I'd go back and do it again. I'm already sitting here remembering and being like, well, we could have done that energy lab faster. But that's what makes the day so difficult in Hawaii, is it's the total sum of the parts. Like, it's not just that it's a warm, the water's warm, and it's non-wetsuit, it's salt water, like, it's dehydrating you. The bike is all exposed. There's not an ounce of shade. There's lots of climbing, not Wisconsin, but a lot. And then you get on the run, and it's the same thing. It's wide open, exposed. It's got some good hills in there. It's not. Yeah. It's just. But it's why it's the reason that it's the World Championship. And when you see the level of competition there, everybody is at a World Championship caliber level, and that's one of the things that kept us moving forward, was just thinking about that.
And then you go from pitch darkness to light at the finish you shoot. And that shoot, I can't put it into words for your listeners. And of course, the first person that was at the beginning of the red carpet was our coach. And he said, enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And this is where me and Brett kind of differ on what happened on the red carpet, but we were flying down the red carpet.
I thought I slowed down to soak up the moment. Kyle's that it was flying.
Slow down.
No, but it was so loud.
It's a really long carpet, though, right?
It's really long.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was so loud.
So loud. I mean,
but when did? Okay, so
nothing till this point. Or go ahead.
I just want to back up because there's a point in every race where you're like, I'm finishing soon, and you like just have that moment. For me, it's usually like with 0.2 left. Yeah. And I just start to like amp up, like I'm going to finish. Like, was there a moment that you remember?
You come down Palani, which is a brutal hill that you have to run up. You have to bike up it and run up it, but when you run up it, it's just brutal. And it was still light out when we ran up Palani, and I was really struggling. Yep. And I remember at that moment, I was like, run up this hill, make this statement, all your friends and family, everybody's here, make this statement that you guys are fine and you're going to finish. I had been struggling. I complained to a couple of people on the course up to that point. I was telling them about my stomach issues. Kyle, you could feel some of his energy getting zapped because of what I was dealing with, that he was worrying.
Oh no, we're going up Polani.
We ran.
We were in, and I said some choice words that really kind of catapult us over the hill, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you could feel the energy. The energy was right there, and
it was awesome. It's such a cool place on the course.
I want to do it.
I would run repeats on Polani.
Yeah.
I would. Because I went back the next day and I walked up it to go to Kona Brewing, and you can still, like Kyle said, like you get off the airplane, you feel the energy of the island. And walking up Polani, I could feel all that energy. I could go run up and down that hill over and over. And just to feel that, get that same feeling. Like it's...
So back to your...
You need some rocky music, though, right?
You don't.
You don't need it.
No, it's like... But so coming down Polani, you have that memory in the back of your head of, man, 18 miles ago, I wanted to be done here. Mm-hmm. And that was 18 miles ago. And you're coming down it, and you have to turn onto Kuakini Highway. I'm just saying all these names so I can prove that I've been there. But it's empty. Because at that point... No, but at that point in the day, everybody's gone. They've gone to the finish. So that area was... When Kyle and I were running on it, was lined with people.
Right.
And when we came back to it, it was empty. But when we hit it, it was like, we're here. At this point... I'm not going to pass out. If I
do, I can drag myself.
Yeah. I mean, I was going into the energy lab. I was dizzy. I was afraid I was going to pass out. I was as close as I've ever been to not getting through that run with him. I mean, it was the most challenging run, like I said, that we've ever had. And so Kyle and I differ on it, but it's kind of the same thing that I said about Raleigh, that there's always that kind of one race that we want to do. But every finish that we've had at an Ironman, we've shared that experience with so many people. We want to thank and we want to acknowledge all those people. So we stop, we high five, we hug. And when Matthew said, enjoy the shoot, I remember just kind of thinking this one's for us. I'm not going to try and find, and it's so crowded and so loud. I'm not going to try and pick all our people. I just want you and me, buddy. We're taking it to Titletown.
Yeah, I mean, it was so loud. Like I said, I had to close my eyes. And it was that finishing at night under the lights. That was our time. That was the culmination of all of our hard work for the past 6 years. And showing the world the greatest athletes in our sport that truly anything is possible. And we became the second precious duo to complete it, the first in 19 years, and the first set of brothers to do it. And I still have to call the Guinness Book of World Record, because I want that title as the first set of brothers to ever compete and complete Kona.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
So, I don't even know, there's so much social media footage of you guys finishing. I mean, I love the one that came up a few days after. I didn't see it until after the finish, but where I guess you jump in front of Kyle and shake him. But then the other one is when your wife, Erica, is jumping up and down, celebrating. What was it like?
She had to work hard all summer.
That's what I'm going to say.
Everybody, Danny, who's been on the podcast, episode 3, Danny planned all the logistics. She busted her butt. Matthew spent, hours of endless energy trying to help. I mean, Matthew had this spreadsheet he had built for us with best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then a one that he could update in real time. So we're going through all these checkpoints, and Matthew's updating the spreadsheet so he knows. Everybody was all in. We had, between the Dynamo folks that I train with and the 4 folks that were racing out of Dynamo, and then all of our supporters, there was almost 70 people there. So there were so many people that all invested so much energy, but Erica in particular, she had to do a lot of solo parenting. I was gone every Saturday for 17 weeks, all day. It's not like I did. And so she, maybe she would have a different answer, and I've told her this. Me watching her jumping was her finish line too. And everybody deserves to be a part of that with us. Curtis, we don't get through that bike ride without him, and we don't get to the start line without all of the countless people you feel that, in all those times, we're human. All the times we both wanted to quit out there, or when Kyle's yelling at me to focus, we're not just, at that point, it's not just for us. We got Dale, who you met at Marine Corps, sent Kona a text that said, when you in the World Championship, we all in the World Championship. Yeah. And so maybe we couldn't take every athlete that's ever raced with us there, but we did. We felt them all day long. Yeah. And so my wife felt that energy, and she deserved that finish line.
No, she did deserve that, right?
Yeah, when we did that.
Yeah, that was her time.
When we did those interviews with you, we were living in my in-laws' basement. Yeah. She did that for 2 years while the foundation grew. While I couldn't, make enough money for us to go buy a house together or do some of the things that we wanted to do for our family. So I love watching. I watch that version where you see the cutaway to her jumping is my favorite.
I'm so impressed. She needs to do some CrossFit or something. I mean, her box jumps will be amazing. They're 4 feet in the air. But I noticed too, an interesting thing about the video is the whole time you're being congratulated and hugged, Brent, you've got your hand on Kyle. The bond between you two, it's just, how is it now? It's always been strong, obviously, but after this experience, is it just another planet?
Yeah, that's a great question. We never got asked that specific question. It's always, what's next after, can we get a couple weeks off? But no, I think our bond has gotten that much closer. I think, it's special.
It's the title of this podcast. It's everybody gets the same 24 hours, and I want to share that with Kyle. And I now, we've been making the joke that we have to call him Kona Kyle, but we do, because he did what so few people can claim to have done. He's got that giant shiny medal in his room, and he deserves it, as much as anybody. And so, like I said, I wanted that shoot with him, and it's almost like I didn't want it to end. When you watch it again, now that I've said that, I didn't want to lose that feeling with him.
You had your hand right
and
there.
as soon as we exited that shoot, it almost was kind of pulling, going away, and I wouldn't let it, because it's incredible. It really is. And I'm learning how to brag about it a little bit, because the whole experience, the 5 years, all of this stuff in between is just, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever been a part of. And I had a front row seat for 140.59 miles. That last little bit I got to come next to him for.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to tell everyone, Kyle? I know we always talk, and then you're like, I had more to say, so now is your time.
No, I get it. If you think you can do something, and there's a lot of obstacles in your way, just keep pursuing it, and know that you're doing the Ironman slogan, anything is possible. Yeah. And that's what we did.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Well, I love you guys, and I just want to thank you for just everything you do. I was having the crappiest day today, and I had texted my husband. I said, well, I have had a terrible day, but I'm going to go see the 2 people that'll knock me out of it. Because, you can't be around you guys and be crabby.
Well, I appreciate that.
Just appreciate it.
We've had plenty of crabby moments, so, I hope your listeners, and I hope you know that there's people that give us a lot of energy, and we try to give that to each other, but we're not perfect. And
you're one of those people.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course.
All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to ask you what's next. I just want you to.
We do have a book coming out next March.
You do?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm not ghostwriting
We've been silent. We've been secretly writing it for a couple of years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we were just waiting for that final chapter.
Good for you.
And it's ready. Well, it's almost ready.
So that's what's next.
That's what's next.
I'm in the middle of that mess right now. That's
You're doing
fun.
your second.
That's way worse.
This is your second one.
Yeah.
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 We're behind you in that race.
All right, kids. Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.